Matthew 5:9 is a great scripture, Sermon on the Mount. Jesus was talking, and he basically said this, that blessed are the peacemakers, for they should be called the children of God. Now, that sort of gets lost in the King James, but a peacemaker is a problem solver. If you look it up in the Greek, blessed are the problem solvers, they should be called the children of God. So my wife and I, we had 6 kids, and I want them to eventually grow up and leave home and not come back, because I had a big family. My dad had 12 brothers and sisters. My father-in-law's got 12 brothers and sisters, and we had good kids and bad kids and in-between kids. And I realized something. If you don't train them right, they'll move back in with you. They'll leave home, find some other idiots, and they'll bring them with them when they come back in. So I want you to stay gone. And so made sure we trained them up and taught them how to brush their teeth, how to get dressed, and, how to diagram a sentence and pass algebra, and how to get out of high school, got them into college, and got them married off, fixed their crooked teeth, bought their first car, paid for the wedding and their honeymoon. After that, I didn't give them a dime. I told them, that's the last money you'll ever get from me. The Bible says parents lay it for the children, children lay it for the parents. So you owe me, good measure, pressed down and shaken together and running over. And so I've told my kids, now you're laughing, I'm very serious. I told my kids, don't you ever buy anything for me for my birthday or Christmas that fits in a box. I go to Walmart by myself. You buy me something better, something you either drive it up the driveway, or it better be a cruise going somewhere. And so believe it or not, I've got a pickup truck and 2 cruises out of the deal. And so usually every Christmas they'll say, but we're saving up. Big Winnebago, 32 foot, I want the big Winnebago. And people think I'm joking. No, I'm serious. If you don't put a demand on them, they won't give you nothing. So I've told them their whole life, you owe me. And so my oldest daughter, when she got married, she's a college professor, got a doctorate, and she left home, married a nice guy, good man. And so she's been gone about 6, 7 weeks. And my wife asked one day, I wonder how she's doing. Well, honey, I'm sure she's doing great. Married a good man there, living life, got a nice new home. They're busy, working. And she said, well, I wonder why she hadn't called. Well, honey, she's married. You remember getting married? I wasn't thinking about my parents. I was too busy sucking lips off your face. I don't want to go home. I'm married now. And so she mentioned a couple of days later, and I thought, well, I'll call her. So I called my daughter and said, honey, you need to call your mom. Don't talk long, 3 or 4 minutes to tell her you're doing okay and everything's fine, and so she won't worry. So just give them a phone call. Well, it got to around to Friday, and she hadn't called. So I think it was Saturday evening I called her. I said, honey, I got 2 weeks off, so I'm going to be home for a couple of weeks. So for the next 2 weeks, I'm not going to bathe or shave. I'm going to get skanky. I'm going to get as skanky as I can get. And then 2 weeks from now, I'm going to crawl into your gated community you live in, and I'm going to put a pup tip on your front yard, and I'm going to build a fire on that manicured lawn of yours, and I'm going to call the Tulsa World. They're going to come out and interview me. They're going to say, sir, is there a problem? Yeah, these are my children, and they've abandoned me. Now, I never threaten my children. You believe it or not, it's true. I never threaten. If I said it, it's going to happen. So my daughter was at my house for dinner 5 o'clock that afternoon. So sometimes you have to tell the truth. Now, I worked as an engineer for 12 years. I loved my job, and God dealt with us about ministry, so I quit my job, much to my family's chagrin. They thought I'd gone stupid. They thought I was in a cult. They sent the 2 Baptist deacons to my house to get me delivered. And I said, no, I'm not in a cult. I'm just hanging out with a full gospel businessman. And so anyway, I sold my brand new home and moved to Tulsa to go to Bible school. So spent 3 years getting to a 2-year Bible school. Took a while to get out. And got on the church staff, and they put me in charge of children's ministry in the Christian school. So I did that for 10 years, and I left, went to work for Pastor Willie George, and a great pastor. And so I was on his board for 20 years, served him. And so for the last 33 years, we've been traveling, because God spoke to me back in 75 and said, one day I'm going to take you all over the country, and I'm going to use you to minister to families, especially the parents. I'm going to use you to turn the hearts of the fathers back to the children and the children back to the fathers. Your own family is going to stand amazed at what I'm going to do in your life, because I've told Pastor, when I was young, high school and college, I never gave an oral book report. I wouldn't do it. I was too shy. And I had teachers say, you're going to give an oral book report. I said, no, I'm not. Well, I'll give you an F. I've had them before. Go ahead and give me one. Won't bother me a bit. And so my freshman year at college, University of Tennessee, I was running out of I don't know what happened. They were running out of classes, so I signed up for oral composition. I don't have a clue what that is, but it was an English class, oral composition. So I get to class first day, and I realized you got to give speeches for the whole semester. And so I went up and talked to the professor. He was a brand new professor, just his first day on the job. I said, do we have to give speeches in here? Yeah, that's why it's called oral composition. I said, well, I don't give speeches. Well, why'd you sign up? I didn't know what it was. So, well, you get stuck now. You're in here. I said, well, I'm not going to do it. He said, well, I'll flunk you. Go ahead. I'll flunk before. It won't bother me. Well, he didn't flunk me. He gave me an incomplete, which in college, it's worse than an F. And so I was a doofus. So long story short, at the end of the year, University of Tennessee wrote me a letter saying I could never come back. For other reasons I don't go into, but I was a doofus. So I'm never allowed to go back to University of Tennessee. Now, I pull for the Big Orange all the time, God bless her, because I was born in Tennessee. But I realized something. I got to grow up. And so I spent 7 years in night school paying for myself what my daddy would pay for free. And so I learned it the hard way. And so I got real successful in business, started dropping all those babies because I wanted a big family. I wanted a ton of kids. And people will ask us all the time when we're out, and they'll say, all those kids, I said, are you Catholic? I said, what? Are you Catholic? No. Are you Mormon? What? Are you Mormon? I said, no. What are you? I said, we're backslidden Baptist. They said, why'd you have all these kids? I wanted a big family. Now, I grew up in Turtletown, Tennessee, and my grandmother got married when she was 15, had her first baby before she turned 16. And so my dad had 12 brothers and sisters. My father-in-law had 12 brothers and sisters. We had children to put them to work. My grandfather had a 400-acre farm. You had babies for manual labor. Not because you like kids. We need labor. We're going to produce our own. And so I came from big families. So I grew up in that, and I loved that. So I thought, when I get married, I'm going to have a chunk of kids. Well, my dad, he grew up, he had 2 kids, 1 girl and 1 boy. I said, how come you didn't have more? I said, well, God made 2 kinds, boy and girl. I want 1 of each. He said, I grew up as a poor kid looking for a pillow to sleep on and a biscuit to eat, some shoes to wear. I only want 1 each. So I only have 1 sister, no brothers. So I realized when I got married, I'm going to have a chunk. I want somebody to take me to dinner on Sunday and send me on a cruise and buy me a Winnebago. And I was very serious. I want to say, you owe me. Bless God, you owe me good measure, pressed down, shaken together. And so my kids know that. So for the last 33 years, we've traveled all over America. We do about 50 to 60 seminars a year. Got a website, and we got a publishing company. And so we teach on marriage and parenting because I believe that will be the hottest issue in the last days. God said in the last days, perilous times will come. Men will be lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, heady, high-minded, truce breakers, unthankful, unholy, disobedient to parents. And so people, what's going on in the world? Well, it's a messed up deal. Because when Adam and Eve sinned, Adam and Eve, that's the thing, it was everything was good, clothes were cheap, food was free, and weather was perfect. But when they sinned, they got blindness fell from their eyes, and they realized something, they were naked. So they had to make some clothes, and so God knew they were going to go stupid, and God comes walking through the garden, hollering for Adam, Adam, where are you? Adam finally says, I'm over here. God asked Adam, Genesis 2, what are you doing? Adam said, I was hiding. God said, why are you hiding? He said, because I was naked. God asked him, who told you were naked? And so Adam wouldn't answer. And God asked him, did you eat the fruit I told you not to eat? So Adam went quiet. He's thinking, did you eat the fruit I told you not to eat? He said, well, it was the woman you gave me, God. When it was just me and you, it was paradise and it was perfect. Ever since you brought that one in my life, it's been going downhill. Message translation. You ought to read it. So God turns to Eve and said, what's your story? And she's thinking, that man's dumped on me again. He's dumped on me again. So she said, snake's fault, snake's fault. From the very beginning of time, nobody will take responsibility for themselves. What's wrong with you? Well, it's my dad's fault. Left my mom. It's my mom's fault. She stayed drunk. It's my boss's fault. It's the president's fault. It's the Congress' fault. It's the Senate's fault. As long as I can blame somebody else, I don't have to do anything. So we got to get to the point where we don't blame anybody. If my kid flunks out, that's my fault. My kid gets arrested for drunk driving, that's my fault. They're my kid. I'm the only one that can fix it. I can't go blaming people. I got to figure a way out. The Bible says, blessed are the problem solvers. So I realized, what's my job? Well, I'm on an alien planet. 2 Corinthians 4:4 says Satan is the temporary god of this planet. When Adam and Eve sinned, they got fired from their job, evicted from their house, their kids start killing one another. And it goes downhill. They wrote a book about it called the Bible. Incredible story. Volume 2 is not coming out. God's hanging with Volume 1. And so halfway through, you get Silent Night, Holy Night, We Three Kings of Warring Are. So God had a plan, send his son to earth. And so it's a great story. You ought to read it. And so we're here on an alien planet. So what's going on? Well, my family, because I'm the only preacher in my family, so I do all the weddings and funerals because I'm free. I don't charge anything. And I'll marry anybody. And so I do all the weddings, all the funerals. And so people ask, Brother Joe, why did God let this happen? I had a relative that lost a brother early, and we're doing the funeral. He said, why did God let this happen? I said, God didn't let this happen. Sure he is. God's all-knowing. He's all-powerful. He's everywhere. No, he's not here on earth. You've ever read your Bible? We came with a book. God's not here on earth. He's not allowed to be here. He gave the earth to Adam. Adam sinned. He gave it to the devil. 2 Corinthians 4:4, Satan is the god of earth. That's why there's wars and famines and earthquakes and orchards are full and there's divorce courts. What's going on? The devil's in charge. Where's God at? He's in heaven. There's a laser light show going on. They're singing to him. It's really nice. But he's not down here. He won't come down unless somebody invites him. We call that prayer. Jesus said 8 times in the New Testament, you have not because you ask not. Ask that your joy might be made full. Jesus said, hey, I'll help you, but you have to ask. And I've had people, I taught intercession prayer for 10 years in my local church. And people said, why didn't God just help me? Well, he won't unless you ask him. Well, he ought to know what I'm going through. He knows what you're going through. Well, he ought to know I'm hurting. He knows you're hurting. And some people think, if I can hurt bad enough, God will come help me. No, he won't. No, without faith, you can't not please God. Without faith, you can't whip the devil. You have to ask. You have not because you ask not. God knows what you need, but he won't move unless you ask him. It's a legal situation. And so I learned early as a parent and as a new husband, like, man, I got to get God involved. I got to get God. I need to do what Paul said. I'm going to pray every day. I'm going to pray without ceasing. I'm going to pray all the time. So I don't ever bow my head or light a candle or hum a hymn. I talk to God like I'm talking to you. And my wife, she'll ask her, Joe, who are you talking to? God. What? I'm talking to God. What are you doing? Well, I'm praying, but I can pray while I mow the grass, or while I'm doing my work at my desk. I talk to God all the time, and she still does to this day. Who are you talking to? I'm talking to God, babe. I don't get holy. I don't light a candle, bow my head, or close my eyes. The Bible says, watch and pray. Yeah, it's deep, but it's in the Bible. Whoa. So we're dropping all these kids, and I wanted them, but it's getting to be a challenge. So we got a big Suburban. Everybody's got to have a seatbelt. So I got 6 kids, got 5 girls and a boy. 5 girls and 1 boy. My boy's the youngest. I wanted a boy the first time, but it was a girl. Because when I had babies, we didn't know what it was till it came out. They couldn't do the sonogram thing way back when. And so, well, my second one will be a boy. Well, my second one's a girl. Oh, man, another girl? Jeez Louise. And so the third one was a girl. Oh, you got to be kidding. So after the third one, I go to the public library to do some research. And I realized that the sex of the babies comes from the man, not the woman. And I thought, evidently, I have no male genes in me. So my fourth one was a girl. And then my fifth one, I said, well, help me, Jesus. 5 girls. Well, I got my own basketball team, I guess. I guess we can do that. And so my wife got pregnant. It's our 6th one. The 6th one was a boy. He came out and he had a thing. And I'm staring at it. That's a male. Yes, sir, you got a male child. Well, I went crazy. I called everybody, and so I was just woo. And so my dad, he get mad every time I had a baby. He didn't believe in having a big family. He said, son, I don't care how many you have, just have them 4 years apart. Have them 4 years apart so you can afford to get them through college. So I did, and my last 3 came in 2.5 years. I had 3 babies in 2.5 years. If I looked at my wife, she got pregnant. And so I'm having to go through this thing. So we lived way out in the country, mile and 7/10 of dirt road because I wanted to raise my kids in the country. And so we'd grocery shop every 2 weeks. Now, we were a 2-cart shopper because we got to get groceries for 2 weeks, so there'd be 2 carts. So we pull up in front of the grocery store, and good grocery store not in the country where we were. And so the cereal aisle, when I was a kid, we had Nicholson's grocery store, Turtletown, Tennessee. If you wanted it, Nicholson's had it. If he didn't have it, you're not going to get it. Now, he sold kerosene, he sold cheese, he had bread. If you named it, he had horse feed, he had it all. And so that was all. So we had cereal, and he didn't have an aisle. He had, at the end of one of the aisles, we had Cheerios and Corn Flakes and shredded wheat. It wasn't in a box, it was just in a plastic wrap. And so we had 3 kinds of cereal when I was a kid. Well, today, you go to the cereal aisle of a grocery store, you're going to walk through the valley of the shadow of death. It's a whole aisle. I mean, it is a whole aisle. And so I remember we'd pull up, and I said, okay, you guys get together, pick 1 box of cereal, 1 box, okay, 1 box. Well, by the time we get out there, the kids go down, they all have their own $5 box of cereal. I said, put it back. Get the shredded wheat. I'll eat oatmeal till Jesus comes. Get the oatmeal. Get the oatmeal. And so I'd yell all the time. So we pull up in front of the grocery store one time. My wife says, Joe, what are we going to do about the cereal? We're going to eat oatmeal till Jesus comes. It's cheap. It's good stuff. It's good for you. No, you need to teach. You teach your parents, teach these kids how to pick cereal. I said, fine, great. Now I look over the back seat and said, anybody got any paper back there? Okay, tear it up in 6 pieces. Got a pencil back there somewhere? Write your name on that piece of paper. Say, got any empty cups? Here, give them the empty cup. Fold your name up, put it in there. And I shook it up and I handed it to my wife. Pick out a name. Well, Corey was my 3rd daughter. Okay, Corey, you're first. Pick out the next name. Well, John was the 6th one. And so it got quiet. And he said, what's this mean? That means you're not going to eat Cocoa Puff for 6 weeks. Corey's going to pick the cereal this week. Well, Corey liked Cheerios. Not Honey Nut. Not honey, just plain stick your finger in your throat Cheerios. And so she's got that big box of Cheerios. We're checking out the counter. She's hugging that thing up. Well, I got 2 younger girls, and they're crying at the checkout line. What's wrong with you? We don't like Cheerios. Well, me neither. Why don't you fast for a week? We can stretch this box for 2 weeks. Or maybe you'd like to use your faith and choke these skanky things down, because until they're gone, we're not going to get to the Apple Jacks, I'll tell you. And so we usually ate cereal every night, so my wife would sit at the table every night because it had to be organized with all those kids. So we come to the breakfast table. The bowl's already there and the spoons are there. And so my son, I now have a male, my son's come to the table late, and he has a Tupperware bowl. He's gone to the kitchen. He's got his own Tupperware bowl. And my wife said, son, we already got a bowl. No, leave him alone. We have a male in the house. Let's see what's going on here. So he's got a big Tupperware bowl, sits it down in front of him, takes that box of cereal, pours about 1/3 of a box of cereal in that big bowl, pours about 1/4 of a gallon of milk. Blah, 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 blah. I thought, my God, I got a male. I got me a male. Let's get this done. And so he's eating, and we're all talking and yapping. So we got to go to school. Okay, get up. Get in the Suburban. Got to go to school. Get up. So we're going out the door. I kissed my wife bye, and I saw out of the corner of my eye, I looked and I saw his cereal bowl was still full. I said, you doggone rascal, you faking. You didn't eat that stuff. You just acted like you were eating it. So I told my wife, you put a little on that, put that in the fridge. So I'm not going to do that. I'll pre-soak a bowl tonight. You put that. He's going to eat every bit of that. And so I forgot about it. We went to school, had a long day. There were ball games that night. We come home, we get up the next morning, and we're at the breakfast table, and John's come to the table with another empty Tupperware bowl. Hey, son, we got you covered. Put that bowl back. So I went in the refrigerator, and I got it out. And I brought it, and I set it down in front of him. Now, I don't know if you ever had Tupperware. So I set that bowl down in front of him, and I popped that lid, and it went, it looks like somebody's puked in that bowl. I mean, it is skanky. Those chairs are swollen up. It's a mess. I said, son, I recommend you eat it today because it's going to be worse tomorrow. And you're going to eat every stinking one of them. And so he's trying to choke him down. He's crying, spit, wipe it up. You're going to eat every one of them. And the girls are crying, shut up, eat your cereal. And so we got about halfway through, and he said, Dad, may I be excused? Fine, put a lid on it, stretch it all month. I don't care, but you're going to eat every one of them. So we have double glass doors in our dining room that were propped open, and I could see the kitchen in the reflection of the glass. So I went to the kitchen. He set the bowl down on the kitchen counter, opened the refrigerator, and he closed it back. And that bowl's still sitting there. I thought, what's he doing? And I saw he reached over and he took the top off the blender, and he poured that mess in the blender. Blah, 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 blah. Then I saw what he got out of the refrigerator. He got the Hershey syrup out. He took the tongue and put the lid on it, poured it out, and drank every bit of it. Said, my God, I've raised a genius. Because what you're trying to do is raise problem solvers, because we live on an alien planet. This world is not our home. There's opposition everywhere from everybody. You're supposed to learn how to be more than a conqueror, an overcomer. Don't come to me some thumb-sucking, well, it's hard and it's hot, and teacher won't pass me, coach won't play me. Shut your face up. Are you a child of God? Yes. Are you surrounded with divine favor? I don't know. Probably not then. You better start believing for it, because it's a big old world out there, and the devil will stomp you into the ground. Now, I've got a big family. I got family with some of the front porch. Man, it is a hard year. And my boss fired me. My wife left me. My dog bit me. And there's always somebody want to sing a sad song. And they try to outbrag one. Well, if you think you've been through hell, I've been through more hell than you have this year. And they'll try to outbrag one about how bad it's been. Shut your faces. The Bible says, let the redeemed of the Lord say so. Let the weak say I'm strong. Let the poor say, call those things that be not as though they are. You got to learn how faith works. You have to speak to something. That's how God made the universe. He spoke and it happened. We're made in his image. How are you going to get life to change? You got to talk to it. I'm going to be the head, not the tail. This will be the best job I've ever had. They're not giving a raise. They're going to give me a raise. They're going to have to, because I'm going to get it. I'm going to give me a raise. So I remember one of my daughters one time, she got out of college in an accounting degree. She's worked for a bank for 3 years. They've not given a raise in 3 years. It was back in the 70s. Economy's bad. It's in a mess. I go to her house. She's sitting on the couch. She's reading her Bible. She's crying. So what's wrong with you? They promised me a raise, and they've not given me one in 3 years. I said, well, baby, the economy's bad. Well, I'm going to quit my job and go somewhere else. Well, I didn't know everybody was hiring. Who's hiring? I thought everybody's good laying off. Well, who's hiring, baby? Well, I don't know. Nobody's hiring. Don't quit your day job. Keep your job and start praying for your company. Pray for the bank you're working for. Pray for your boss, you know. Well, that was in April. She did that in December. She was voted Employee of the Year, and they doubled her salary. If you don't pray, nothing happens. If you don't pray, God does not feel sorry for me. God only responds to me confessing his word. God, I'm surrounded with divine favor. People like me that don't even know why. I'll walk with divine favor. You promised it to me. It's bought by the blood of the Lamb. So it's a real short sermon this morning. Really good. It's out of, it's in the Old Testament where the pages are stuck together. It's in Numbers chapter 13. Now, by the way, 13 is a good number. I go to hotels back in New York and in the East sometimes, and they'll have big old tall hotels, and they never have a 13th floor. They'll have a 12th floor and a 14th floor, because people think, it's unlucky. I'm not going to stay on the 13th floor. I'm not going to stay in room number 13. I said, 13's a God number. You know, when they went to the promised land, they walked around the walls of Jericho once a day for 6 days. On the seventh day, they walked around 7 times. Well, that's 13. When did they get victory? When they walked around it 13 times. 13's a God number. When I played football, my number was 13. I liked it. I went to Sunday school my whole life. What do you know? I'm wearing a God number. Well, 13's unlucky. No, you're an ignorant heathen. You believe that stupidity. Listen, there's God, the devil, and we're in between like an Oreo cookie. Heaven to hell. There's no middle ground except we're stuck. We get to choose. I set for you life, death, blessing, cursing. You choose. Every day I get to choose. I'm choosing God. I'm a child of God. God's going to order my steps and direct my paths. He's going to surround me with divine favor. He's going to make people like me. I've had kids playing athletics. Coach won't play me. They're going to play you. You need to pray for favor for you, coach. He's benched me. Well, maybe you need to practice more. You need to shoot better hoops, you know. What are you going to? And so I'd stretch my kids. Don't go through life griping. Nobody likes me. Nobody plays me. I can't get a boyfriend. Can't get a girl. Well, that's probably you got bad breath and you need to comb your hair and bathe more often. I mean, there's going to be a reason. You're trying to blame somebody else, probably you. So work on yourself. Oh, that was so good. Numbers chapter 13. Okay, I'm out of time just about, but Israel's been sinning and repenting and sinning and repenting and sinning and repenting. And so when they would sin, judgment would come, to get nasty. So drought had hit, and Isaac had gone off to Egypt, and Abraham went to Egypt, and it's been a mess for years. So finally, Joseph down there, and he marries this good-looking gal, and he's running everything. And so they go down there. There are 30 30 kings in Egypt. Hundreds of years. 30 kings. 27 were city kings. 3 were country kings. I taught history for 10 years. 3 were country kings. When Israel went down to Egypt, when their famine had hit, it was the first of the country kings. And they said, hey, we like you. We know about sheep and cattle. You know about sheep and cattle. We're going to give you the land of Goshen. Because I like you. You know, Joseph's here, and I like you guys. We're going to give you this great land out here. And so they gave him Goshen. So that king dies. Another, country king comes in. He dies. So for 3 generations, they're multiplying like rabbits. Well, all of a sudden, another city king comes back, and he realizes, hey, there's too many of these people. They're going to overrun us one day. We got to get rid of them. Well, what are we going to do? Well, we need to kill every baby boy 2 years of age and under. They made a movie about it, Cecil B. DeMille's, Moses and Ten Commandments. They made a law to kill every baby boy 2 years of age and under. We got to reduce their population. Is that anything new in the news? There's billionaires who think we're overpopulated. Very wealthy people, they're billionaires, and they're trying to control the population. There's too many of us. We're running out of food and ozone. We're not running out of nothing. Now, I hate to take time to do this, but I taught a class one time, Biblical Worldview, and I had a kid that liked me, but he thought I had too many kids. Mister, you shouldn't have that many kids. We're running out of stuff. We'll do a paper on it. It's a 9-week class. Do a paper on it. I'll let you stand up for the student body and share it. And so 9 weeks later, I don't know what he's going to share. It's a free class. Say what you want to say. And so he got us, I've been arguing with Mr. McGee. I think he had too many kids and the world's overpopulated. But I've done study for the last 9 weeks, and I realized the world is not overpopulated. Now, Jacksonville, Florida, I live in Florida. Jacksonville, Florida is one of the largest cities in America, geographically. It takes you almost 2 hours to drive north to south through Jacksonville. It is one big city. But you need to know something. He told this story, and I've researched it. Every human, at this time, 6.2 billion people, every human on planet Earth will fit inside the Jacksonville, Florida city limits. You give everybody 3 square feet, every human in China, Russia, California, Texas, New Hampshire, every human on this planet will fit inside the Jacksonville, Florida city limits. That means nobody will be in North Carolina. You can have the whole state to yourself. Where they at? Jacksonville. Everybody's in Jacksonville. The point is, we're not running out of nothing. There's a 1,000-year reign of Jesus on this existing planet where people still have babies. Nobody's going to die. It's going to be a lot of people. There's still plenty of grass, plenty of coal, plenty of oil, plenty of bread. Sin's abusing the country, sin's abusing everything, but we're not running out of nothing. God's not in heaven ringing, oh, dear Lord, somebody better go get them. We're about to run out of stuff. We're not running out of anything. And if you don't read the Bible, you don't know that. You'll believe the news. Well, stock's up, stock's down. I don't care what the stock's doing. I don't own stock anyhow. People say, you getting ready for the end times? What? What end times? Well, when Jesus is going to be, I read about it. It's a real good story. 1948, Israel became a nation. God said, when Israel becomes a nation, I'll be back within the next 100 years. So in 1948, to 2048, back off 7 years of the tribulation, somewhere around 42, 43, Trump's going to say, we're going to go to heaven. We're going to spend 7 years eating dinner. We're going to saddle a horse, come back with Jesus. It's in the Bible. It's a great story. They made movies about it. We're not running out of anything. And so I've had people, friends that born again, spirit filled. So you storing up water and wheat and soy and getting your gas mask? No, I don't wear no stupid gas mask. I did that in the Army. I don't have to do that anymore. Aren't you storing up food? No, we're not running out of food. We're never going to run out of food. Jesus said in the last days, there'd be lots of people and there'd be lots of food to feed them. We're going to be here. Hell's not going to... The devil wants to scare. Hell's coming. Hell's coming. Hell. No, the church is here. As long as the church is here, hell can't show up. Antichrist can't manifest. We're still here. Now, if you look around, your Christian buddies are gone, you might want to get nervous. So one day the Trump's going to say, we're going to go to heaven and eat dinner for 7 years, share testimony, and saddle a horse. Now, that's in the Bible. You have to get your mind settled that I'm going to be fine. I'm not going to run out of nothing. We'll run out of everything. No, we're not. Now, it shifts. There's been time, every time there's an oil embargo, whatever, the grocery stores will empty. And I've been in Florida when the last hurricane hit. You couldn't find bread or nothing. What's happened? Well, they got to the store and bought it all. They bought 12 loaves, 8 gallons of water, 20 cans of beans. And they're still in their garage. because 3 days later, hurricane's over and the shelves are full again. Do you understand how the supply chain works? There's more food on this planet than you could ever imagine. Yet 1/4 of America is starving to death. Why? Well, you got to believe God, because we're on an alien planet. Satan is the god of this planet. He'll steal, he'll kill, and he'll destroy. Our job is to resist the devil, not get afraid. Got quiet. Anyhow, Israel's gone into captivity. They're down there for 400 years. Got a bad king now, and they're having to stomp on mud, make bricks. And so they finally cry out to God, God, we need help. Yes, you do. Can you please send a deliverer? Yes, I can. Well, what God did, he had a woman get pregnant. I'm going to send a deliverer, but she's got to have the baby first. 9 months later, she pushes a baby out. Well, the devil knows something's going on because everybody's getting, angels are flapping wings everywhere. Something's wrong. So he demon-possesses Pharaoh, makes a law to kill every baby boy 2 years of age and under. Well, what is it? Well, Moses has been born. So mama takes him down to the river, puts him in a basket, and floats him down the river to hide because Pharaoh's daughter couldn't have babies. They didn't have tabloids back there, and nobody knew it. But she couldn't have a baby. So she finds this baby floating by. She says, I'll tell everybody this is my baby. Well, Moses' mother shows up. I see you have a baby. Who are you? Well, I'm a mother, and I've lost my baby. My breasts are full of milk, and I'll be glad to nurse that baby for you. So Pharaoh's daughter hires Moses' mother to nurse Moses. God has a wacky sense of humor. And so God has Pharaoh, the enemy, raise up the guy that's going to deliver the people from him. They made a movie about that too. It's real good. So anyhow, the 10 plagues and the lice and the frogs and all that, they made a good movie. So they finally make them leave. So they leave Egypt. And the Egyptians, they load them up with silver and gold and jewelry. Please just get out of here. You people are just wacko. So they leave, they get to the Red Sea, and they made a movie about that too, and the waves part, and Egyptian army drowns. So they're finally over to the promised land. We've heard about it for 400 years. We're going to live in houses we didn't build, eat from vineyards we didn't plant. God wants to bless us to make the world ask us about the hope that's in us. How come you got so blessed? God. Was it your IQ? No, it's God. Are you so smart? No, it's God. Did you inherit money? No, it's all God. God wanted a people that the world would ask them about the hope that's in them so we could tell them about God. Do you know the 10 Commandments? No human's ever kept the 10 Commandments. You know why God gave the 10 Commandments? Because he knew we couldn't keep them. Well, I believe in the 10 Commandments. Every courthouse in America got 10 Commandments. No human has ever kept the 10 Commandments. God gave 613 laws. The 10 Commandments were the first of 613 laws. God gave them to show his people, you can't do this. You need my son, but you don't know you need my son, so let's try a few hundred years trying to keep the law, and you're going to realize one day, it's not working. I'm killing every bull and goat and sheep I've got. I'm going broke trying to slit throats every day out the temple. And so finally when Jesus died on the cross, the Bible says that the veil in the temple behind where the Ark of the Covenant was split top to bottom. The day Jesus died, God said, no more bulls, no more goats, no more sheep, no more turtles. It's your faith in what my son did. You don't have to do any sacrifices anymore. God knew what he was doing. Oh, that's just so good. So, they're at the promised land. They're about to find out what's going on. So it says, Moses says, send out men to explore the land of Canaan, the land I'm giving to the Israelites. Send one leader from each of the 12 ancestral tribes. So Moses did as the Lord commanded, and he sent them out, 12, one from each tribe. And it lists them. Verse 17. So Moses gave the men these instructions as he sent them out to explore the land. Go north through the Negev and the hill country. See what the land is like. Find out whether the people living there are strong or weak, few or many. See what kind of land they live in. Is it good or bad? Do the towns have walls, or are they unprotected, like open camps? Is the soil fertile, or is it poor? Are there many trees? Do your best to bring back some samples of the crops that you see, for it happened to be the season of the harvesting of the first ripe grapes. So they went up and explored the land, from the wilderness as far as Rehoboth, near Lebanon. Go north, they passed through the Negev and arrived in Hebron, or let's move on down. Verse 23. When they came to the valley of Eshcol, they cut down a branch of grapes, a cluster of grapes so large it took 2 men to carry it on a pole between them. Now I love grapes. I've never had to have 2 men carry my grapes to my car for me. What's that? Well, I bought grapes. We're going to have to get a couple guys to carry this out. Now, these grapes, if you ever go to Israel, you land at Tel Aviv, and the airport is a huge brass statue of two men carrying a pole with grapes on. They don't look like grapes. They look like cantaloupes. It's called the Promised Land for a reason. Is that a grape? That looks like a cantaloupe. No, it's just a big grape because it's the Promised Land. It's the land God's been trying to give his people for hundreds of years. He can't find anybody with enough faith to take it. Abraham ran off to Egypt, tried to give his wife away. Isaac ran off to Egypt, tried to give her. I'm trying to find somebody with some hair and lip that'll take the promises I'm trying to give them. Nothing's changed. God's still trying to find people that will believe him. Will anybody believe me? And so they go, and so they find this cluster of grapes. So if you go to Tel Aviv airport, it's a big brass statue of two men carrying this pole with these giant, looks like cantaloupes. They're grapes. It was the Promised Land. God's still trying to bless the people. He's still trying to find somebody that will believe him. Well, it takes faith to please God. Woo, Lord have mercy, it's getting deep. So let's just flip the page. It's a short sermon. It's about over. After exploring the land for 40 days, the men returned to Moses and Aaron and the whole community of Israel. They reported to the whole community what they had seen and showed them the fruit they had taken from the land. This was their report to Moses. We entered the land you sent us to explore, a land flowing with milk and honey. Here's the kind of fruit it produces. But the people living there are powerful. Their towns are large and fortified. We even saw giants there, the descendants of Anak. Now, Anak was a fallen angel. Angels left their first estate, fornicated with the daughters of men. And so Goliath was, that's why David looked at Goliath and said, he's dead while he stands. No, he's 10 foot 2 inches tall. No, he's dead. He's not human. He's a half-breed between a fallen angel and a human. He's dead while he stands. Well, that's why David had faith to kill him. He's not a real person. He's a half-breed. Well, God had to finally chain the angels up under the Euphrates River, and that's another sermon. So it's a bountiful, but the people there are powerful. It said the Amalekites live in the Negev, the Hittites, the Jebusites, the Amorites live in the hill country, the Canaanites live along the coast of the Mediterranean Sea and along the Jordan Valley. But Caleb tried to quiet the people as they stood before Moses. Let's go at once and take the land. We can certainly conquer it, but the other men who explored the land, no, they disagreed. They're stronger than we are. And they spread this bad report about the land among the Israelites. The land we travel through and explore will devour anybody that goes there. All the people we saw were large. We even saw giants there, the sons of Anak. Next to them, we looked like grasshoppers. That's what they thought, too. Well, did you ask? Hey, baby, what do I look like? You look like a grasshopper. Thank you. I'm going to go back and report that. 12 spies go in. 12 spies come out. 10 brought an evil report. 2 brought a good report. What was the evil report? We can't do it. Or who's small? Or who's big? And so 2 brought, Caleb just, no, we can do it, man. It's God. Head these grapes the size of your head. Let's go do it. Let's go get it. They were excited. They saw the same thing the other men saw. Slept in the same place. Traveled the same land. What did you see that they didn't see? I saw God. I saw his promise. I'm excited to get up every day. But you got people in your own family, and it's just getting hard. In the economy and gasoline prices going. I don't care what price the gases are going. God said he'd supply money. I don't care if gas goes to $10 a gallon. God said he would supply all my need. I don't care how expensive it gets. When I got married, gasoline was 25 cents a gallon. The oil embargo hit and it went to $1.25 a gallon. My dad wouldn't drive to work. It'll kill America. $1.25 a gallon, it's going to kill America. No, Dad's going to go a lot higher than that. We just don't know that yet. I made $8,000 a year and I thought I was living good. Today, that's 3 times below the poverty level today. Life changes. God doesn't die and he didn't fall off the throne. We get to believe God every day. Have mercy. Anyhow, I'm about through. The whole community began to weep. Weep aloud. They cried all night. Their voices rose in a great chorus of protest against Moses and Aaron. If only we had died in Egypt. Ooh, if only we had died in the wilderness, they complained. Why has the Lord taken us to this country only to have us die and then our wives, or we die in battle, then our wives and children be taken as captives, as plunder? Wouldn't it be better for us to return to Egypt? Then we could live among, they reported among themselves. Let's pick a new leader and let's go back to Egypt. So I'm going to shorten it up. So all of a sudden, they sat up all night crying, well, we need to go back. We need to go back into slavery. We need to go back and stomp some mud. Let's go back. Let's go back. Nothing's changed. I made the nominating speech for the government of the state back in the 80s. I was in politics heavy for a year. I'm not anymore. I'll vote. That's all I'm going to do. Don't get involved in it. And I realized there's always two groups. There's always somebody. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. No, it's not. It's the greatest day of human history. It's the last days. God said in the last days, I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. You'll dream dreams. You'll have visions. This is the greatest day of human history to be alive. If you're reading the book. But if you're not reading the book and you're listening to the news, whoa. You ever notice the news, even the conservative news channels, you be watching the news and all of a sudden, some bad news has just happened. We'll be right back in this commercial. Stay tuned. We're going to pour about the new bad news that just happened. And people stay glued to the TV. I worked on 2 great church staffs, born again, spirit-filled, big churches. One had 3,000, one had 12,000. Big churches. And I'd go in the morning, get my coffee, go to my office. Joe, did you see the news this morning? No, I don't watch the news. I don't ever watch the news. There's no good news. Good news does not sell. Only bad news sells. That's why they have commercials on the news broadcast, because bad news sells stuff. Hey, some good stuff happened. I don't care about that. Bad stuff. Oh, bad stuff. You drive down the interstate and there's been a car wreck, somebody's been killed, you'll stop, slow down. Oh, dear God, I wonder who died. I wonder who died. You drive down the interstate and there's 8 people in a circle praying, you'll blow right past them. People are drawn to negative. Whoa, whoa. The Bible says, think on these things, whatever's lovely, just, honest, praiseworthy, the good report. Think on these things. Don't think on those things. Those things trying to exalt themselves against the knowledge of God. So you got to make your own personal choice. I'm not going to watch stupid. I'm not going to read stupid. I'm not going to sing stupid. And I've told this story so many times when I worked for Olin Matson as a lab technician. Big plant, 300 employees, Tennessee River in Chattanooga. You couldn't hear yourself think. OSHA hadn't showed up yet. So you got 6 different country stations playing, and somebody, hey, change your station, 95.5. And you hear them sing. 300 guys say, take this job and shove it. Ain't working here no more. Take this job and shove it. And they'd all sing, and the foremen would laugh, the supervisors would laugh. And it was so funny. And then 3 months later, they shut our plant down. Closed her up. I drove in to go to work one morning, and the guards handed me a pink slip. You don't work anymore. Yeah, I'm a lab technician. I work on the 3rd floor. No, they sold this company to a company in Belgium. And I said in my ignorance, I don't want to go to Belgium. They're not taking you, son. They're taking the plant. And so it sat empty for years. For years, it sat empty down on the Tennessee River. All of a sudden, the Chattanooga Baking Company bought that building. Bought that building. It's still there today. The Chattanooga Baking owns that big 3-story building right on the Tennessee River. And they're a big baking, and they're famous for making one thing and one thing only. Anybody know what the Chattanooga Baking Company is famous for making? Moon pies. They make moon pies. You come to my office in Florida, tonight when I get home, my desk, there's a moon pie on the corner of my desk. Now, it'll never rot. It'll be good 20 years from now. It won't rot. That moon pie is a reminder, don't ever sing stupid. Don't sing stupid. When I married Angel, we had a big screen TV. She said, Joe, you want to watch a movie? Sure, baby, let's watch a movie. And so we sit down, and so the music's coming on. I said, what's it about? And she said, I don't think I know this movie. And the stuff's rolling. I said, well, how does it end? My wife, who I love, said, well, I'm not going to tell you. So I'm not going to watch it. I don't watch a movie unless I know how it ends. Well, that's crazy. No, it's not. I'm not going to sit for 2.5 hours and watch the good guy die and they all go broke and get their kids killed. I don't watch stupid. I got better things to do with my time. And so my wife is 12 years younger than me, and I own every John Wayne movie that's ever been made. I don't watch Iwo Jima because he gets killed in that movie. You watch Iwo Jima? No, because he dies. I don't watch where John Wayne dies. I watch where he wins because he always wins. And so I watch John Wayne The Searchers. I've watched that movie 100 times because it ends real good. And my wife will come through, and I'll be late at night doing something at my desk, and I might have an old movie playing while I'm doing some work. She said, what are you watching? John Wayne, The Searchers. Joe, how many times have you seen that movie? At least 100. I own that. Why do you watch that? It ends good. It ends good. I watch stuff that ends good. I sing songs that make me happy. I don't sing stupid. I don't think stupid. I don't read stupid. I don't meditate on stupid. Stupid is as stupid does. That's in a famous movie. So in the last days, we are honored and privileged to be alive in the greatest day of human history. Let's make the most of it. Guard your heart. Now, you don't have to become a hermit. I love life. I enjoy life. We have a great life together, my wife and I. And we do have a massive, big screen TV in our home in Florida. But all the movies are pre-recorded. I don't take a chance on nothing. I don't watch stupid. I watch stuff that ends good. And I don't even watch the news. My wife said, you watch the news? Well, there's no good news. And it's going to change 5 minutes from now. Well, they've invaded Zimbabwe. Well, they'll invade something else tomorrow. I remember I go on to church staff, and we'd be getting our coffee. Joe, did you see the news this morning? No, I don't watch the news. You didn't see what happened in Zimbabwe? I don't even know where Zimbabwe is. I'm never going to go there, and I really don't care. I got a big family. I got a chunk of kids, got a chunk of grandkids, and I got cousins. I got enough people to keep me busy till Jesus comes. We got most of the world concerned about stuff you don't have any responsibility for. The devil wants to get you thinking about something you're not responsible for. God's got people in Zimbabwe praying for Zimbabwe. I'm not one of them. I've been to Israel 3 times. I love going to Israel. But people say, you been to Israel? Yeah. Were you afraid? No. They're God's people. Nobody's going to mess with Israel. They got a nation the size of Rhode Island. It's a little bitty country. Everybody that borders that nation hates their guts. They want them dead. They're protesting against Israel all the time. In the United Nations, they hate the Jews. Why? They're God's people. Are they going anywhere? They're not going a place. God's got 7 years of Jewish history yet to fill, but not now because this is a church age. I'm still here. Once I leave, Jewish time's going to kick back in. And God's going to do some incredible stuff. So you got to make sure who you are, where you're at, what you're thinking. So we live in the greatest time in the world. So there's never been a better time to have a baby than now. People call me out, Joe, is this a good time to have babies? Never been a better time to have babies. You need to have a chunk of babies. My baby's having a baby. Is it going to be okay? It's going to be great. It's the last days. It's the last days when God's going to pour out His Spirit on all flesh. We live in the greatest time of human history, but not if you're feeding on the world. Because fear is going to creep in. And fear will stomp out your faith. Watch what you feed on, what you sing, what you listen to. We live in the greatest. I don't want to get to heaven. I don't want to get to heaven and meet St. Peter at the Golden Gates. Well, Joe, welcome to heaven. I'm sure glad to be here. Well, before you come in, we've got to read off everything you did, in faith, out of faith, in love, out of love. We're going to pile all your stuff up. So he's going to open a book and read all my whole life out in front of me. Woo, St. Peter, I knew I was busy. I didn't know I was that busy. That's a chunk of stuff. I'm going to need some help carrying this in. Well, we got to test fire first, so there might be some bad stuff. Now, I'm mad some big hairy angel walks out behind the curtain, shoots a ball of fire into my stuff, and my whole stuff disappears. St. Peter, where'd my stuff go? Well, you don't have any stuff, Joe. You are a chicken leg Christian. What? Yeah, you thumb-sucked your way the whole way here. You go out, complain, didn't go to church half the time. But you get to stay. You're born again. So hang this chicken leg around your neck. Now, I went to family reunions my whole life, big family. And the kids always ate at the card table. You don't eat at the real table. You eat at the card table. You don't eat off a real plate. You eat off a paper plate. You don't get Coca-Cola. You get Kool-Aid. And then you got a chicken leg. Not the big one. You get the little chicken leg. You a chicken leg Christian. And I forget the day I finally got to the big table to get a chicken breast. Thank God we got some meat now. But for years, I was a chicken leg Christian. So I believe you're going to go to heaven and you're going to walk in the pearly gates and see Noah and Moses, Jephthah, and you're going to walk around somebody that's got a chicken leg running out. Who are you? I was a chicken leg Christian. You have a mansion? No, I get to hold the door. Somebody else's though. I don't have a mansion. I was a chicken leg Christian. I just squawked my way all the way to heaven. And so there'll be people in heaven. The mansions in heaven are not government housing. They're not all the same size. Whoa. What we do down here, we're laying up treasure in heaven. So let's live smarter. Let's think about other people, not ourselves. I said, I want you to give your life away, son. That's what my son did. How'd you get born? My son gave his life to you. You need to do in turn, start giving your life to your family. I tell people a marriage is a funeral. Hallmark's got the cards all wrong. It should say, I'm so sorry I heard you got married. Because if you don't die at that ceremony, you're a half-dead zombie. I only deal with Christians. I've had Christian men, been married 32 years, come to my office. When do I get to pick something? When do I get to pick where we go eat, where we go on vacation? When do I get to pick the couch to sit on and the car drive? You don't pick nothing, son. You died. You dead. You died the day you said I do. Did you not read the book? We came with the book. A marriage is a funeral. It's a covenant. You can't have a covenant unless somebody dies. So at that marriage ceremony, you're swearing before God and witnesses, from this day forward, I'm living for this woman. I'm not living for me anymore. So I told Angel when I married her 7 years ago, I said, listen, I don't know who you think I am. I know you've known me for a number of years. Her husband had worked for me years ago on another staff. And I said, you know me, but I'm not who you think I am. I'm not perfect. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm not perfect. But I promise you, I'm going to spend the rest of my life getting you to suck the lips off my face. That is my goal, to make you want to suck the lips off my face. So this is me. This is not God. I close with this 1 minute statement. In our 7 years of marriage, I've never picked a restaurant. I've never picked a vacation. We own 2 houses. I've not picked one of them. We've owned 2 cars. I didn't pick a car. I don't pick nothing. Angel picks everything. I remember we bought our second house in Florida. She said, I got to go to Florida. We're going to buy a house. You want to go? Nope. No, I'll just mess it up. You go get it. You don't care? I don't care. I love you. Whatever you get will be fine with me. You don't care what kind of furniture? I don't care. I just want to know where my coffee cup is. If I know where my coffee cup is, I'm a happy man. And so I've lived my life. So if you ever see my wife, Angel, she'll tell you, Joe won't pick, he lets me pick everything. But she knows I like swimming, so both my houses had a big swimming pool in the backyard. Both of them heated. Who got that? My wife got that for me. Did you ask for it? No, but she got it for me. She knows I like to swim. And I swim in a heated pool in Florida. And I'm sucking lips off that woman's face. Now, we don't get along all the time. We don't hardly agree on nothing. We really don't agree on nothing. I rarely watch a movie with her because she likes historical stuff. And I want something that ends good. I want to watch John Wayne. I'll watch it again. I'll watch Roy Rogers and Gene Autry movies. I still watch that. It ends good. I'll watch something that ends good. If it doesn't end good, I don't watch it. And so we're very different, but we're very compatible. We love one another. So we're going to go to heaven, second lips off each other's face. When the trumpet sounds, when we see everybody go up, the couple that are kissing, that'll be me and my wife.